Well, good Monday morning, 4 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. We're at 37 degrees right now at the KRIM studios on West Frontier in Payson. This morning on KRIM's Community Spotlight, we're talking with the new town manager for the town of Payson. That's Troy Smith. And just to give you a little quick rundown of his background, first of all, education-wise, he's a graduate from Regis University out of Denver with a master's in science and management. Also, at the University of Northern Colorado up in Greenlee, has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. And then at the University of Virginia School of Continuing and Professional Studies, has a Graduate Certificate of Achievement there in Criminal Justice Education, and spent some time with the FBI National Academy and up in Quantico, Virginia, as well as the University of Colorado Graduate School of Public Affairs, the Rocky Mountain Leadership Program. First of all, Troy, it's great to have you in here and have a chance to get to talk with you. Now, you've been around Payson now for how long?
I came to Payson in mid-October, and thanks for having me on this morning.
Absolutely, glad to have you here. And now you have some really interesting past experience, not only as a deputy city manager in the city of Commerce, or Commerce City rather, up in Colorado, but also in law enforcement as well.
Yeah, primarily the major part of my career, I spent 27 years in law enforcement in the state of Colorado with a few different municipal and state agencies during that time.
Right, that's very interesting. So what I assume, and of course you know what they say about that, but I assume that you started out in law enforcement and then gravitated over towards municipal management, that type of thing?
Yeah, I really oriented my education towards the more of the business school, as you read to the listeners, and that was on purpose. In the event I was ever to get injured or something was to happen in my career, I wanted to have a sort of a second place to fall back on, and so city management was something I always had my eye on in my career and thought would be a great place to finish up my career as well.
Right. Well. And so now, with the time that you spent up in Commerce City, that was a deputy city manager up there?
That's correct, yeah.
How many years did you do that?
I did that for about 5 years.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And how big is Commerce City?
We have about 63,000 residents when I left.
And that's basically a suburb of Denver?
That's correct. We border Denver on their north side and the Denver International Airport.
Very interesting. So now, as you look to, as you come on board now and you've had a chance to kind of get your foot in the water and take a look at what's been going on in Payson, what do you see as the priorities?
Well, let me first say that, the decision to move to Payson was really driven by the fact that we wanted to be a part of this community. My family and I were looking for, a smaller community. Living in a metropolitan area was really getting tiresome for us. I was commuting over an hour each way to work, and so the quality of life was definitely being impacted by the growth in the Denver metro area. And we were looking for a community that had a smaller size and something that was, beautiful, had lots of outdoor activities. So we just couldn't be happier to be members of this community first and foremost. We're just delighted to be here. Joining the town and being part of the town government staff has been terrific. Starting to learn my way around, as you mentioned, get to know all the different parts of town and learn about the culture and the history of Payson and how it's evolved to be what it is today. And that's really important to me. I think we have to respect our past to understand how best to navigate the future.
Amen.
And so that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing since I got here, and trying to help the council plan for the future of what Payson could be.
Right. Outstanding. You bring a really interesting perspective at this, again, with a lengthy past history in law enforcement, and that, our emergency services are such an integral part of the management of a community anyway. I think that gives you a pretty unique perspective on the things that you probably looked at to begin with when it came to trying to get your finger on the pulse of what all's going on here.
Yeah, for sure. Public safety service delivery takes a good portion of any municipal government's budget. It is one of the primary services that local governments provide to its residents, and very, very important.
Right.
For residents and business owners alike to feel safe in their community and to know that they have professionals who respond to incidents and and help make a safe community. That's critical for the economic growth of a community, as well as the vibrancy and safety of any community.
Yeah, makes good sense. So again, when we talk about priorities moving forward, I mean, have you already started to, assemble at least a mental list of kind of the things that you want to get after to begin with here?
Well, my role as a town manager is to help facilitate the vision of the elected officials in
Mhm.
town. So it's not necessarily about Troy coming up with a vision for the community, but assisting the council in developing a vision and building on the vision that exists here already for what the town could be. And then trying to align financial resources and other things to make that come about.
Well, and it's interesting, all the transitions that are going on right now, because basically we have a new town council with 2 new members that were just seated in December, and talking a bit about building consensus within the new council. And that in and of itself has to be probably a pretty interesting challenge, just to kind of get a feel for the different personalities and the different priorities and focus that each one brings to the table.
Yes, absolutely. It's an exciting time. A new council has been formed. 2 new members have joined the town council. And anytime you change people on a team like that, the dynamics change, the people change, and the opportunities change. And so this group learning how to work together and focus on the things that they're in agreement about and move the town forward is a significant part of the effort that I'll be working with them on over the next couple of months. To return to your previous question about things and priorities in town, I have had the opportunity to meet with many business owners and residents in town, and none of them have shied away from sharing with me the things that they believe it would be really nice amenities to add to the community, things that they think Payson would be better off if it had. And that list has been generated and started.
There's not a lot of shy people in Payson.
No shortage of thoughts and opinions about what that is, and that's great. That's how we make better decisions. If the community is informing us about all those thoughts and desires, then it's much easier for the council to undertake efforts to try to make those things happen. So things like, an outdoor aquatics facility of some sort, and even an indoor facility that would offer families and guests to our community an opportunity to recreate and maybe a reason to stay in Payson as opposed to continuing on to someplace else. Those are things that I've heard repeatedly from community members as I've met with them.
And a lot of this leads up to, I know in doing some reading before the show today, it sounds like you're already busy working on, again, with your finger on the pulse of talking to all these folks around town, working towards the new general plan adoption, which is coming up in 3 years.
Yes, that's a significant undertaking for the council and for town staff. It's a very high level of community interaction in that process to develop the town's general plan. And the general plan then informs how resources are utilized and what priorities exist in the community. And the plan that we have now has been around for about 8 years. And as we begin this budget process going into the next fiscal year, which will start in July, we're already thinking about the planning process for that next general plan amendment and how that next 10 years will shape up based on the input from our residents.
Well, there's got to be a lot of variables involved there. I mean, you mentioned, the idea of a updated aquatic center and things. I mean, there's a lot of capital expenditures and things like that you got to look at and try and weigh out and everything. So I mean, there's a whole lot there to consider.
Yeah, and you add to that we have 2 major state highways that intersect in our community, in addition to the town's road network that exists around the community. And you really have a grasp then of some significant capital expenditures that the council's going to be contemplating in the future. One of the things that's on this week's council agenda is an assessment of the pavement condition throughout our community.
Right.
And we'll have a consultant that will come in and does a technical assessment of every street, every inch of asphalt we have in the community, and suggest to us where best we can make an investment in maintenance on that pavement, such that, you know, we're really smarter about the dollars that we're spending throughout the community. So those are things we're trying to do here early on in my tenure to help the council make great decisions.
Yeah, and I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I do know that when I've heard how many miles of road there are just within little old Payson, it's, until you really add it up, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an awful, whoever that consultant is that gets the job of, you know, assessing all of that, I mean, that's no small undertaking. They got a lot of driving around and looking to do.
Yeah, that's correct. They have technology installed in the vehicle, and they actually drive every of the, you know, 300+ lane miles of road surface that we do have in the
300.
Yeah, I believe it's about 300.
Wow, I knew it was a you know, surprising number, but wow, that's amazing. So and again, I think there's probably no shortage of people that would like to tell you that the road in front of their house should be your priority.
Absolutely. You know, we certainly have needs in the community, and people do call and let us know where they have challenges, and we make every effort to address those when we get them.
Right.
There also is availability for residents on our website to send that information to us through a click of a button electronically, and staff follows up on those, inspects them, and sees what the condition is. Unfortunately, sometimes it's beyond what we can do with a repair.
Right.
And we try to let residents know then when our next scheduled overlay or milling will take place, so that condition can be improved.
Outstanding. Now, one of the other things that I know has been a bit of a hot topic, and in looking through the notes, I see it's is something that you have a focus on too, is building capacity for enhanced communications with residents. What are you talking about? Just media releases, or what are you talking about there?
No, I think, you know, in today's modern technology environment, people get their information in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Recognizing that at least 50% of our residents are retired, many of whom do not interact on social media platforms, we have to be very thoughtful about how we prepare communications so that we're informing all of our residents, not just a segment of them.
Right.
So enhancing our ability to communicate with social media is certainly a goal of town staff. We want to be able to provide people the most accurate information as soon as we possibly can. And so looking at both social media and other platforms such as resident mailers, our website, TV4, the local stations, broadcasting council meetings on that local TV network, a variety of ways to enhance residents' ability to access information about what's going on and to engage them in sharing with us what their thoughts are.
So not only just talking to them, but listening to them as well, then.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Very good. Now, as far as Payson itself goes, I mean, you know, there's been, well, I'd say, you know, a number of issues that have come up time and time again over the years, and I know one of the things that you commented on is the need that many folks feel that we have for an aquatic center. Are there other significant capital expenditures that you're having to talk to people about right now? I mean, because that's, I don't have any idea what the number would be. I don't think any of us really know for sure, but I mean, that would be a pretty significant cash outlay.
Yeah, depending on the amenities that you would like to have in that facility, you're talking about at least a $30 million investment in the community. So significant undertaking would have to be financed with debt, so bond issuance would take place, and then the town would be making a debt service payment out of its revenue streams, you know, probably for 30 years into the future. So it's not a small undertaking. It is something that is really important to be thoughtful about how we go about constructing that, and we need to hear from residents about ensuring that that's an amenity that they, you know, really want and want to commit their local tax dollars to.
Are there any other biggies like that? You know, when we're talking, you know, tens of millions of dollars, are there other things that are on your radar right now?
Yeah, so I've been working with the town staff, again, trying to get our budget process ready to take to the town council, and that process takes, you know, 5 or 6 months worth of work to produce a balanced budget that I will ultimately present to the town council. And I would say there are 3 primary focuses within this upcoming budget process. One of them certainly is our transportation network. So understanding what condition our transportation network is in, our roads, our road surfaces, which of them are beyond repair and need to be rebuilt, and what the cost of those elements are. Understanding what of those we can apply maintenance to and preserve for the future. So that transportation network is a pretty weighty topic. The second one is about saving for the replacement of capital items and equipment within the town. So the town has attempted in the past to try to set some money aside, but there is always a struggle between saving for the future and spending to deliver services. And I want to shift our focus to ensuring that we're saving dollars to replace tractors and our rolling stock fleet, police cars and fire trucks in the future in a way that does not shock the conscience of the budget on an annual basis. And then the third element of that certainly is contemplating what the priorities of capital investment in the community are from the town council. And that's a process I'll be going through with them in February to identify which of these projects are the most important and those things that they would like to focus on in the future.
Well, going back to the roads issue for just a second, with the idea of bringing in, a consultant to actually do the assessment of where we're at and where we, want to go or need to be or whatever, how long, do you know roughly yet how long that assessment process will take?
Yeah, we're hoping once, council has to authorize the expenditure of those dollars. The dollars were programmed in the budget, but this is now awarding the contract to a vendor. And once that vendor is selected and is on board, we're anticipating between 45 and 60 days to get a report back from them that outlines for us our condition of our transportation network.
Wow, interesting work. Now, there has been other things that have been talked about as far as, and it just seems like the right time to ask the question. When it comes to putting a roof on the rodeo or multi-event center, I think is what I'm supposed to be calling it.
Yeah.
Things like that. I mean, are those also on the radar still?
Absolutely. That's another one of those projects that, as I visited with people, really has risen to the top, and for a number of reasons. I think we really have the opportunity, if we could find the revenue to pay for such an amenity, to bring in a number of shows, equestrian events, other activities to the town that simply cannot come right now because of the lack of the cover and the heat that is here during the summer months. And so it is an opportunity, if that investment were to be made, to generate additional revenue for the town based upon the events and activities that would happen there. So from an economic development standpoint, I would put that project in the category of a revenue generator, where the other amenities we were talking about, our transportation system improvements and the recreation center, are more cost heavy because they tend to be subsidized by general government revenues.
It's one of the things that has been talked a lot about in the past, and has been seemingly successfully addressed at great length now, is that of water. It's got to be pretty exciting, especially coming in and getting to know a new community, to see what's been done over the course of really like the last 40 years, being able to secure the water from Blue Ridge Reservoir or C.C. Cragen Reservoir, so that Payson has a sustainable water supply well into the future as we grow. I mean, that has to, in and of itself, open up a lot of interesting doors of possibility and opportunity.
Yeah, I would say first and foremost the vision to create this water system that we have, and then the discipline that it took over a long period of time to continue to invest heavily in building that system came at a cost.
Sure.
Money wasn't invested in our transportation network while the water system was the priority, and so that vision really secured the future for Payson, because without water, you don't have an economic development outlook. And Payson's water future is as bright, if not brighter, than any town in the state of Arizona. We have truly secured water beyond what most municipalities have as a result of that project. And now it's about what can be done in order to enhance that and ensure the vitality of that resource into the future. So the mayor has been working diligently with a broad and diverse group of stakeholders up around the C.C. Cragen area to talk about fuel mitigation, wildland fire mitigation in the area of that reservoir to ensure that we don't have a catastrophic failure of that system.
Right.
And he has put together an eclectic group of stakeholders who are all very interested in saving, that forest and mitigating the opportunity for something to happen up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited about the momentum that project is gaining, and I'm grateful for the mayor's leadership on that.
Outstanding. Having been a resident here for the past 40 years, we've seen a lot of things come and go as far as issues and concerns and things like that. But one of the things that I think it was an interesting challenge going back to the downturn in the economy in about 2008. That Payson had to reprioritize a lot of their expenditures because it affected everything and everybody. But it looks like things are really moving in a much more positive direction now, where again you're able to talk about the idea of improvements to our roads and maybe the multi-event center and things like that. I mean this has got to be a much better time for you to be coming on board than what some people in the past have had to deal with.
For sure. The community really was, and the local government revenues and the community in general, based on what I've been told, really was devastated by that economic downturn. And, families had to move out of the community as they weren't able to earn wages.
Yeah, we lost a lot of our service sector.
The service sector was gone, and so a lot of the trades and skill workers left the area. And we want to do everything we can to help facilitate bringing those people, their skills, their talent base, and those jobs back to this community because we need them. Sure. And we are growing, and that is exciting. I will tell you that our revenue streams still have not recovered to the level that they were. While they've come way back up, they have not come back to the level that they were prior to that recession. And so,
right.
But yes, I think I certainly have benefited from the leadership that was here during those times, and the things that were done to protect and preserve the town's financial future, even through those very lean years.
Now, and Troy, we're just about out of time. If listeners right now are thinking, I need to talk to this guy because I need to let him know about ABC or XYZ or whatever, is there a best way for people to try and do that?
Sure. We have restricted our services and operations as a result of the COVID-19 numbers that we are experiencing in Payson right
Sure.
now. And the virus, unfortunately, is alive and well in Payson.
All too true.
It is touching many people's lives in our community and their families, and our hearts and prayers go out to people who have lost their lives as a result of this virus.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, our lobby is open for limited, socially distant people to come into the lobby. So coming to town hall is one of those options, and sharing those concerns with staff members at the front desk, certainly a way to get that information to me. My email address is available on the town's website. It is townmanager@paysonaz.gov. And so if people will send me an email, I'll do my best. I'm getting a lot of those since I've come to town. But I'll do my best to be as responsive as I can to that. And then certainly by leaving a message at Town Hall for me, I will try to get back to people again as timely as I can. But love to have the information. We sent out a survey recently. It's still open. It's a Survey Monkey that we sent out through the town for people to share with us their thoughts about capital improvement projects in the community. Mm-hmm. That survey is available to be filled out until the 31st of January, so I encourage residents to put any and all information in there that they would like to share with us. And you can find a link to that survey also on our webpage.
Outstanding. We've been talking this morning with Payson's new town manager, Troy Smith. And Troy, thank you very much for coming down. I look forward to talking with you more, and I just think this is an exciting time for Payson right now, and it's good to have you aboard.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. It's great to be part of the community. People have been so welcoming to my family and I since we moved here, and we're just excited to be here and to live here and be part of this great and vibrant community.
Beautiful. Again, talking with Payson Town Manager Troy Smith this morning, and we definitely appreciate him coming in. We got to get you back to more of your favorite music. As a matter of fact, have some tunes coming up from Bob Seger, The Police, The Traveling Wilburys, Van Halen, and a whole bunch more. But first, a quick look at Rim Country weather.